Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I release a Legacy video every Friday. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by joining the Patreon. Here you can gain access to continuously updated documents like a sideboard guide, a primer on Legacy Doomsday, and gain access to the Neville Shoot Discord server. So come join the community at patreon.com/NevilleShootMTG. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the video. Hello everyone, Martin here back with another Legacy video. Today I am playing Doomsday in Legacy, and I have decided to revisit a real beauty. This is a Doomsday list that when I saw it, I just fell in love. This is the 2023 Mark Tobias Eternal Weekend Top 8 list. I have made slight modifications, but this is pretty much it. Mark Tobias played this list and had, like, I think he top 8'd Eternal Weekend either Europe or North America, I can't remember, and then he top 16'd, I believe, Eternal Weekend Asia, with a list like this. I tried it pretty extensively back then. This is like 2.5 years ago, and I have to say I was never able to really get it to work as well for me as it did for Mark. That being said, there is a lot to like about this list. I have only made one change to the main deck, which is that back when Mark was playing, the surveillance were not a thing. So I added an Undercity Sewers, and I added it as land number 16. The original list had 15 lands, and I decided to cut the singleton copy of Night's Whisper that was being played there. I don't think that card necessarily completely holds up right now. And I think 15 lands is already somewhat of a risky proposition. So the way that this deck gets away with playing 16 lands but having all these expensive spells is also by playing Lorien Revealed. This is the only time I've ever seen a version of Doomsday in Legacy that played only the 6 fetch lands, and obviously it's able to do that because it plays 3 copies of Lorien Revealed. So basically this deck is it's 4 colors, and that is asking a lot of the mana base. That's also, I think, one of the weaknesses, and I think one of the archetypes I want to face the least is probably moons, like anything with moon stompy, initiative with Mags of the Moon or whatever. I think that kind of that's a tough thing to beat. But this deck is, I think, pretty well set up to fight blue decks and as an umbrella category. Teferi, I'm gonna see how many times I call Teferi Jace, because I have my brain sort of like consolidates those two into one for some reason. But yeah, playing Teferi is just wonderful in Doomsday. It lets you basically sidestep almost everything. Like with Teferi, your opponent can never use Dress Down against you, can never use Consign in Memory, can't really use Endurance. So there's just a lot of things that having access to Teferi just completely blanks. Obviously, having a blue-white 1 sorcery speed spell you have to like resolve and protect in your Doomsday deck is not ideal. But it is, that the question is it worth it? And I think it might be. We'll see. But it also means we're only playing 1 win condition, which is the Thassa. We're playing Veil of Summer. I think like Dimir Tempo is the most popular deck right now, and having access to Veil of Summer is pretty nice. Veil also has like residual value versus something like Oops All Spells, even if it's not like amazing there. And then we're playing the One Ring, and the One Ring obviously is an incredibly powerful Magic card. It's great with Dark Ritual. Like we can play the One Ring on turn 1 and 2 a fair amount of the time here. It does mean like we're now playing 7 copies of very expensive sorcery speed spells. It also means well, that means that your hand sometimes gets cluttered. Like, it's not uncommon to open up a hand with both Doomsday and the One Ring, and then if you draw another copy of either one, it's like it's pretty bad. It's actually a pretty interesting experiment in the sense that, you know, how many, like, if there was ever a reprint of Doomsday, or not a reprint, but like a functional reprint, let's say that there was an almost identical spell printed, allowing us to play 8 copies of this effect, you know, would we? One analysis would be yes, of course. Like, this is the namesake of our deck. This is the one spell we want to resolve. We would play, you know, 10 copies if we could. But another way to look at it would be like, no, I mean, eventually you have too much of this effect. You don't want to draw, ideally you don't want to draw the second one. Sometimes you do, but then for sure you don't want to draw the third one, that kind of thing. So that's interesting. One last thing I want to touch on here is that I did think about pretty like intensely if this deck wants Tamiyo, and I think like, well, first of all, it's not an impressive blue count here. It's 23 blue cards, but that's including the Thassa. That also means like if you're ever boarding out, you know, Teferis or Dazes or whatever, you somewhat quickly run into issues with your blue count, and I think that is sort of also why this deck wants or needs Lorien revealed. So having Tamiyo might, you know, well, that would help there, right? And having Tamiyo, I mean, I think the obvious place to look in terms of replacing something would be the One Ring. But I think, like, obviously a resolved the One Ring on average is going to be much more valuable than a resolved Tamiyo, which is to be expected since it costs 4 times the mana. But us playing Dark Ritual, like mana ramp and stuff, that is not completely unreasonable. And I think, like, having Tamiyo, we don't really have that much going on in terms of protecting her, but I could still really see this deck wanting Tamiyo. I am. That is probably something I'd be interested in testing, like a version of this 4-color deck with Teferi and Veil of Summer, but then with like maybe shaving all or some of the rings and adding Tamiyo. Yeah. In the sideboard, 2 copies of Sheoldred, because I don't think this deck wants to be a true creature deck. I don't think this wants a creature plan that involves Barrogoyves and Bowmasters and tons of removal. It has some removal, but not a crazy amount. And Sheoldred is it is a little bit of a, you know, suspicious choice here in the Tamiyo landscape where there are a lot of Karakas, but against non-white decks, I really like her against other combo decks. So, and it is another thing to do with your Dark Rituals. I added a Massacre because the energy deck is pretty popular, and I added an extra copy, so we have 2 copies of Serenity, because I do seem to be running into a lot of Urza Sagas, a lot of Mystic Forge, Karn the Great Creator, that kind of thing, where Serenity is pretty interesting. But let's say that's enough of a deck tech here, and I'll go jump into a league. Alrighty, on the play here, or rather on the draw for round number 1, against Build or Burn, a player I vividly remember having played against very recently, where they played a what do you call it? A really, really spicy Echo of Eons deck with this saga, or is it a saga? Some enchantment that leveled up. Yeah, it's not a saga. Anyways, I'm going to keep this hand. It's a little bit, you know, maybe not amazing if we're up against turn 1 combo deck, but I think it's hard to send this back. Ancient Tombs, this defense grid, okay, sure. So, if this Undercity Sewers was a land that entered untapped, we would just win here, but instead it's not, so let's mulligan. I don't want them to know this is Doomsday, so I'm going to keep this on top, and then hopefully we can win here. 4 mana off of Ancient Tombs here. What's this? The One Ring. Alright, sweet. So, I think that means we get to win. I'm actually also not sure if it's correct that I would have won last turn. I just realized I was missing both an extra mana and the Brainstorm. But anyways, now we do get to win here unless our opponent has Force of Will or something similar. Let's see here. 5, 8 mana. No, 7 mana. So we could cast the One Ring and Doomsday, but I don't think there's a need for that. We can cycle this Lorien Revealed and just get a land here. And then we just cast the Doomsday. And we build the standard pile here, which means we cycle Street Wraith into Brainstorm and then cast Drawing, Consider Edge, LED, you know the rest. So put Thassa on the bottom with the Cycler on top, LED, Consider, and then just Brainstorm needs to be the top card. The middle 3 didn't really matter. Put back Ring and Consider. And let's go ahead and cycle this Edge of Autumn and sack the LED for blue. Okay, and they concede. Sweet. So I think we have a lot here that we can bring in, but I'm also not completely sure what the opponent is up to. Sheoldred comes in, as does the Force of Negations, and I think Serenity comes in. Question is if Prismatic Ending also is supposed to come in. Thoughtseize comes in as well. So I think it's probable that we don't want Veil of Summer, but I'm not completely sure. But if they are like an artifact-centric combo deck, they might still have an like Tendrils of Agony as a win condition, but I would be surprised if that's the only win condition, or even the most relevant one. I think we can cut one of the Cyclers. And then the question is, how crazy are we about Teferi? Tell you what, I think I'm going to cut 2 Teferis here. Yeah, I'm going to cut 2 Teferis. I'll leave 1 in, and then I'll cut the Cavern of Souls. So let's do this. That leaves us with 2, 5, 9, 10, 13, 17, 18, 22 blue cards plus Thassa. That's fine. Yep. Yeah, I think we keep this hand. Like if they have turn 1 defense grid like last game, Thoughtseize is pretty good there. Obviously the Daze less so, but... And they're mulliganing again. They're down to 6 cards. Story checks out. That kind of deck probably needs to mulligan quite a bit. LED. Okay, this might just be a turn 1 send here. Yep. There it is. Does Machines. What kind of name is that? Alright, so when this enters, this is really sweet if you haven't seen this before. Basically, you mill 2 cards, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. And then for 2 blue mana, you can level it up. And when you do, you get to return up to 2 artifacts. So you basically, you get this in, and you can sack both LEDs, get a bunch of mana, and then get back the LEDs. That's pretty sweet. And unfortunately, I have nothing here, so they can also return the defense grid here, I guess. So that was the mill. Now they draw 2, and then they discard 2. Let's see if an Echo of Eons is put into the graveyard. Ooh, Flusterstorm. That's good to know about. But they pass. All right, cool. I draw Force of Will. I can't complain about that. Of course, the defense grid could enter next turn. Yeah, let's Thoughtseize here. If it's an artifact or a land, it's kind of a bummer. Okay, it's Urza Saga. Yeah, so depending on what they draw here, they might just want to be Saga gaming. There's the Saga. All right, looks like they're leveling up. And they just drew Echo. That's gross. And now they level up. So they get to return. Yeah, they get to return LED plus. Yeah, that's really nice. So am I supposed to do anything here? I think I'm supposed to Force of Will this and then just hope to draw another force. I think that's probably it, because if I daze this, they pay. The last card in hand is an LED. They cast second LED. They have grid. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to force here. Now, I guess I will pitch the Lorien revealed, just because I think there was like a marginal advantage to me, like redrawing a Daze rather than redrawing a Lorien. So we can leave them with either 6 or 5 mana here, leaving us with 1 land in play. I think we're just supposed to let this resolve. We draw Force, which is about as well as we can hope for, but I don't think. Ooh, okay, yeah, I was just gonna say I don't think it's gonna help us here. This is Mind's Desire. That's awesome. All right, let's see what is revealed here. So Defense Grid, cast that for free. Glaring Fleshraker, okay, another one of those. Mox Opal, and a seat. So they didn't hit another Mind's Desire. That's, the most important thing. But now we're just going to get completely wrecked here. Unless we draw, like, exactly a Dark Ritual, if we, supposing we do get a turn here. That also means I'm not going to force of will this Defense Grid that they can play, because I need the out of like drawing a Dark Ritual for my and having my Brainstorm. All right, and they do play the Defense Grid. I take a bunch of damage. I'm just gonna yield here, and maybe they're just able to fireball me out here. I'm at 11 life. They have at least one more artifact coming here from their Mox Opal. Puts me to what, 5? No, 7. That's another Defense Grid. I take 4 more, and I guess. All right, and they burn me out. Cool, cool, cool. I don't think anything changes here. I guess like seeing Flusterstorm makes me may want to be interested in stuff like Teferi and Veil of Summer. But we do have plenty of threats that I don't care about Flusterstorm. That's a tough one. I think I'm just gonna resubmit here. It will suck to be sitting like in a winning position, like having Resolve Ring or whatever, but staring into a blue mana and knowing they could have Flusterstorm to mess with the actual Doomsday. But I do have 1 Teferi in the deck. All right. Yeah, I'll bite. Let's go with this one. I think I might want to Street Wraith here, just in case I highball into a Dark Ritual or a Thoughtseize. Okay, that didn't happen. Let's pass here and hope to not get got by a turn 1 send. The opponent did keep 7 cards. I'll have to force of will a Defense Grid here. Okay, and there is that blue mana. There is that potential Flusterstorm. But I think my hand is okay set up to play sort of control here. Let's take the Ponder. And let's play Polluted Delta and cast Ponder. I think I'll take Ponder. Then I'll draw... which one is it? I think I'll probably draw Ring here on the next turn. And then we'll see. I can try and just hard cast Doomsday with double force on the following turn. If they have the Flusterstorm, then maybe we can follow it up by Ring. Does machines. Tell you what, I think I'm going to force this. And then I'm just going to try and cast Doomsday and win now. Okay. Maybe they do have that Flusterstorm. Well, if that's the case, it's going to be a 2-for-1 for them. And then I'm still left with Force of Will, blue card, and the One Ring. Let's get Scrubland in case we draw one of our white cards. I've got a feeling this is going to get flustered, but hey, let's see. Okay, it gets Force of Willed. That's very interesting. I could have forced back, but I was worried about having that then flustered. Boomerang So basically, cycle for a blue mana and pass. Sure. Drawing a land here would be pretty huge. And we do. Love that. And now let's hope they are sitting on that fluster and not another force. That's in. Alright, love that. And let's draw a card. Edge of Autumn, okay. Probably not very useful here, but could in a pinch cycle to draw into a daze potentially for one more piece of interaction. Okay, no play here. LED, alright, well, let's draw 2 cards. And now we could hardcast Force of Will here. I think we're just going to leave things back like that. So we have hardcast Force and then another Force. Pitching the Ponder. And they're passing. Alright, we go to 11. Let's draw 3 cards. I think we cast Brainstorm here. Let's get rid of LED and a land. So what's the what's the discard here? I suppose I could try and ponder into Sholdred here, or to Fairy. Well, yeah, let's get another white mana here and let's cast Ponder. I think I shuffle these. I draw the LED. Okay, well, at least it means we don't have to discard. Alright, let's pass. We are somewhat turtled up here, but it's by no means a sure thing that 2 Force of Wills is something they can't navigate. What's this? 5 mana? 6 mana? Is this, oh, it's Echo. Tell you what, I'm going to daze this. They will have to discard their hand, and then I can force it. Oh, they have a force. Pitching Flusterstorm. Okay, so let's see here. If I force this, then they sack the LED, go again, and then I have to force that, and then we're sort of... Alright, I can save one of my blue cards by sacking this Dark Ritual. I think I'm going to do that. Alright, cast Doomsday, or rather cast Force of Will. So this resolves, then they sack the LED, putting another Echo into the graveyard. That's disgusting. Alright, I'll force, and I'll pitch Lorien. Okay, but that drew the concession. Alright, cool. I guess I'm untapping and drawing 4 cards with all the mana in the world, and they're hellbent. Alright, cool. Off to winning start against a pretty sweet combo deck with the One Ring and Mind's Desire and Echo of Eon, so I'd love to see that list actually. Alright, off to round number 2. Alrighty, we are on the play for round number 2. I think we're supposed to keep this hand, even though it is a little bit wonky. But it does put Teferi on the stack on turn number 2. If we want to sack a Petal for that. And I think we play the Underground Sea rather than the Cavern. I'd much rather have Cavern Wastelanded, but I think being able to cast Brainstorm here... Oh, and this is a Mystic Forge deck of some kind, or a Eldrazi deck. Pithing Needle. Okay, I'm going to let that resolve. I think it's doubtful they'll name a card. I think they'll name a Wasteland. Yeah. Okay. So we could wait a turn on the Teferi, and I'm not really sure if the Teferi is doing that much right now. So what's the plan then? We could cast Brainstorm, but then if we don't hit a blue card, then suddenly Teferi is my blue card. I still think that's probably what we want to do. Yeah, okay, so that happened, but we do right now have a turn 2 Doomsday win. Or at least a put Doomsday on the stack and have Edge of Autumn ready type deal. Grim Monolith. Is this the Force of Will? Probably not. No, this is a next turn win because I have the Petal as well. Uh-oh. If they have Kozilek's Command, then I can't really do that. If I can find a blue card here, I'm also just able to like cast Fairy and pass. All right, let's get under city sewers, surveil. I think we get rid of that pedal. Dark ritual, huh? Yeah, I think I don't want to just try and win. Or is that even true? Like, let's see here. I could go Dark Ritual. I'll have 4 mana. That becomes 6 mana. 3 post Doomsday. So I go Cycle Edge into Consider, cast Consider, 2 mana floating, bin away something that doesn't matter. Draw Street Wraith, Wraith into Thassa, and all of that with Force of Will up. I think that's good enough. Because the card I'm worried about is certainly Kozilek's Command here. Alternatively, it could be Disruptor Flute. So if they have double Disruptor Flute here, it's that they can cast 2 Disruptor Flutes. All right, let's see here. Thassa. We have to consider as well 2 Street Wraiths, and then just something we don't care about. I guess we'll make it the Cavern of Souls in case something changes here when they give us an indication that they can Force of Will. Alright, so Thassa on the bottom with the Cyclers on top, and then Cavern, and then Consider. I'll play my Petal, just so that there's no awkward stack timing later on. I don't think that could end up mattering, but you never know. Cycling the Edge of Autumn here, casting Consider. And I think right now, if they had Flute, they would have to cast the Flute. Because the next chance they get might be with me having Thassa already on the stack. And if they have the Kozilek's Command, now they have to use it and make me draw a card. That didn't happen. Okay. They can also do it now. I guess they could have 2 Kozilek's Commands because they could just make X 0, but then I surveil 0 and then draw a card. So 2 of Kozilek's Command gets me here, I think. All right, let's see. They are tapping out. They did have the Kozilek's Command. They made it for X equals 2. Okay, so I'll Force of Will that. And Thassa's in. Ding-a-ling. All right, so this is Eldrazi 12 post, whatever you call it these days. Serenity is good, probably, but maybe not amazing, depending on how many Eldrazi they have that are part of their win condition or plan. Force of Negation. Sheoldred, like, it's great if Ring is central to what they're doing, but if it's more like Glaring Fleshraker shenanigans, then maybe not so much. Maybe 1 Sheoldred can come in. And maybe like 1 Plow, 1 Ending. I'm not sure about those, to be honest. Again, I think the Veil of Summer come out. I think Cavern of Souls comes out. I think 1 Cycler can come out. And then maybe it's 2 Teferi, so it's very similar to last round. Though my boarding in the last round was obviously faulty because they ended up showing me like Force of Will as well. Okay, they're only getting to 6, which gives me a little bit more hope in this hand. But I really don't like this hand very much. But I am going to keep. We have no Force of Will. We have 2 Doomsdays and Thassa's Oracle. Like, immediately, one of those Doomsdays plus Thassa should be something else. You know, if we could design the hand ourselves. Plus, the Edge of Autumn isn't, like, a whole lot better. Voltaic Key. Okay, so this deck definitely has the 1 ring, so maybe the second shoulder should have been in here. Candelabra of Taunus. So they could have a lot of mana next turn, depending on, but they only have 1 card in hand, so I don't know. I think I want to play Underground Sea here and not the fetch land. I think there's a high chance that I end up wanting to cast Brainstorm on their turn here, and then Candelabra nets 1 mana here. Karn. Yeah, let's go digging for Force of Will, I guess. We don't find it. But, I mean, this almost does the trick, right? But only almost. Because we won't be able to ever get to 2 blue mana next turn when also having Doomsday. Alright, well, I mean, let's put away 1 copy of Doomsday and then we'll draw the fetch land, I guess. Maybe the second copy of Doomsday is more valuable than the Lotus Petal. So let's see what they reveal. Could be liquid metal coating. Could be pithing needle, I guess. Alright, it is the coating, which they can play at the cost of a Lotus Petal. And that just basically switches off my Underground Sea. It doesn't kill it because they need to then minus the Karn to start nuking lands. Or plussing, I guess. Okay, so they can make 3 mana now by sacking their Petal. Oh, no, 2 mana. That's how that works. So it kind of comes to the same. Okay, I can't stop that, so you have liquid metal coating. And now they Roshan port me here. So I wonder what I'm supposed to do here, because right now they could just like get Mycosynth Lattice. They could also like try and nuke my lands. I think I need to be able to build a Doomsday pile that can Force of Will next turn. Alright, here's Doomsday. So we do need a lot of stuff to happen here, which is a little bit scary. But let's say that we Edge of Autumn into Brainstorm. Brainstorm into Force of Will. Consider Street Wraith. Is there something else that makes sense? Like Serenity now. Serenity could do something here. Let's see. So as things stand right now, next turn, let's say they untap, they have a bunch of mana, they minus Karn, they get Mycosynth Lattice. In that case, we cycle Edge of Autumn, sacking our Underground Sea. We draw Brainstorm. We cast Brainstorm, drawing Consider, Force of Will, Street Wraith. We could also make it so that Street Wraith is the top card. So we cycle into Street Wraith, cycle into Brainstorm, cast, drawing Force, Consider, Serenity. We put back Lotus Petal and Thassa. And then, so we have 3 lands total. They can keep like liquid metal coating a land. And then if they start nuking, yeah, I don't know. Okay, I think I'm going to do this. Because right now they just have a face-up win with Mycosynth Lattice if I don't protect myself here. Alright, let's do that, and we pass. And it's very likely that, it's pretty likely anyways, that they can still just like win here. Okay, they draw another land. Yeah, if this edge was Street Wraith in this case, so that I didn't have to sack a land, I'd feel a lot better. Okay, it looks like they go for it here, go for the Lattice. Is that correct? It is. Alright, Lattice is here. Oh, hang on. Do I just get to win next turn because I have 2 mana? Yeah, I think I do. Never mind, it's all good. Oh, no, I don't, because they can still liquid metal coating. That's the thing. Alright, Petal and Thassa back here. And Consider is pitched. I think if we can fate their next draw step, there's a chance. Voltaic Key actually can also like really mess with us here because of the liquid metal coating. They can make 2 lands. Yeah, I think they probably, there's a way they can beat us no matter what here because I can never get to 2 blue mana. Yeah, so basically what they can do now is they can untap, they can tap the coating, make my Underground Sea an artifact, plus Karn, kill my Underground Sea, then untap the coating, and then I can never win. Yeah, well, first half of that is happening right now. and they just need to do it again on my upkeep, and I am dead. Yeah. All right. Yep. GG's. All right. I think maybe I want the second Shieldred over the first Teferi, and I think I want the second Prismatic Ending over the first Plow. Then do I want Thoughtseize here? And if I do, then what do I want it instead of? I think this is probably fine. I don't know. Maybe Thoughtseize is better than Prismatic Ending, number 2. I don't know. No, I'm gonna resubmit here. All right, let's see if we get a go on here. We get an acceptable one. Yeah, let's keep this. Double force against the stack is something I'm interested in, but we do need to find some action here, and having the Tropical Island and no green spells in the deck is a little bit ugh. I think I'll shuffle this. Just more air. Okay, that's nice. That's potentially a win condition. Ancient Tomb. Into what? Into Manifold Key. Okay. And Candelabra. Okay. Strong, but not devastating. Can I get a Dark Ritual? No. Alright. Well, let's cast Brainstorm and look for more mana. We do find the mana here. The question is, we can't cast Doomsday before the turn where we would be able to cast Shieldred anyways. I think Doomsday is better here though. So let's get rid of a Force of Negation, and we will pass. Planar Nexus. So they have access to what, 4 mana right now? Looks like they're passing. Let's get the Surveil Land and the One Ring. I actually like that. Let's draw that, and let's pass. So what's this? A Kozilek's Command, EOT. I don't think I can afford to fight over Kozilek's Command here, like a value command. Access 2, so they have more mana next turn, and this could very well be a winning proposition from them, but I think I can't. They go 2 to the top. Okay. Yeah, maybe picking that One Ring was a mistake. Like, it's vulnerable to a bunch of things. I think I have to kill this flesh or counter this Flesh Raker, because I think my plan's going to be to pass the turn after Doomsday. Grim Monolith. So this is right now 5 mana. It also represents the mana they can use to untap the Ancient Tomb, so 6 mana, but I still think I have to let this go. Pithing Needle, okay. Wait, did I just yield? That wasn't my intention. Turn off auto yields. I mean, I wasn't going to counter this Needle, but holy heck. Okay, so that name's Street Wraith. Okay, so I think I'm going to Lorien Revealed here. Unfortunately, I can't get Scrubland. So I'm going to get another Underground Sea. Oof. Alright, I am going to make Ring here. Like, casting Doomsday and passing, I have concerns. Ring, I really hope to draw a blue card here. And if not, then hopefully I draw something of use. And the next turn I can, like, put Doomsday on the stack or whatever. We don't draw a blue card. Bummer. So now they get a free turn to resolve something big. Maybe this is another Kozilek's Command. Yeah, I'm completely falling behind here. We have to untap without them having Karn in play, I think, to stand a chance. They go 2 to the top, 1 to the bottom. So now they have 1 million mana. There's Karn. Yep, you got it. They can even, I was going to say maybe they can even like get, well, they're at 5 life. How'd they get that low? That Ancient Tomb, huh? But if they can get to Lattice here, obviously, it's that's all she wrote. But if they can't, Okay, what do they reveal here? They do have lattice, and I'm not good at math here. They just have it. Yeah, all right. GG's opponent. What a battle. Off to round number 3. All right, we're on the draw here for round number 3 with a little bit of a like slow hand, but I'm going to keep this. Basic island into Tameo. Okay. All right. I think we just go land go here. Gotta tell you, it's a little bit of a relief to play against, you know, this inauspicious start. I know Tameo can obviously run away with things, but compared to the relentlessness of the Ancient Tomb decks, this does feel a little bit more of a chill experience. Windswept Heath. Okay, so this deck probably has white in it. I think that has to be the conclusion. They're passing. Interesting. We surveil. I think I'm interested in Force of Will. And then I think I'm going to cast a Brainstorm here. I like the ring. Let's get rid of a Thassa's Oracle and Lorien Revealed. And then I'm going to cast Ponder off of, I think off of Tundra. I would be interested in finding Teferi here. Ooh, I like these. Let's see. Next turn we could have 3, 4, 6 manas. We can't double ring next turn, but the question is if we need the Dark Ritual at all. That beats a Daze next turn. Teferi or Tameo and Daze often goes together, or go together. Yeah, let's go like that. And we pass. Basic Plains. Philia. Okay. Philia is a little bit annoying here. That's Wasteland. Quantum Riddler. I think I forced that. The Daze. Brutal. Okay. And now we just get completely buried in card disadvantage. Or card advantage, I suppose. And now they flip their Tameo as well. Okay. And they have 5 cards in the hand. Lovely. What are the odds they don't have Force of Will? At least they can't Daze here. Okay, ring is in. Sweet. Now, Philia can either draw them a bunch of cards with a Riddler, or it can like blink out my ring to then keep it with like no counters. I'm not sure what's best here. Okay, they attack, and they want cards themselves. Fair. Well, we both have a card drawing engine here. They're a deck that probably has stuff like Consign to Memory or Stifle in the main deck, which is tough. Okay, so next turn I can like take 8, and then I'd be at 6. Then I untap. I'm at 4. It's not really ideal. I think I'm gonna Brainstorm though. There is Doomsday and a couple of Street Wraiths, which I can't really afford to keep. Yeah, okay, so I'll take 4, I'll take 8, I'll go to 5, then I'll go to 3. So I'm running out of life points here, but maybe that's still fine. Let's ponder. Would love to find Veil of Summer here. Double Daze. How do we like that? I think we actually do like that. We'll see. If they just pass with like 3 open mana, it's obviously, you know, a disaster, but they crack a clue here. I think if I'm them, I pick up Daze here rather than go for the win with because they're already like winning. Okay. And they chose not to blink out anything. They want to put damage on me. Okay. Well, I expect them to have Force of Will here, and at that point I think I've lost. But I still think I have to try and cast this Doomsday before drawing with the ring. Maybe that's a mistake. I don't know. Yeah, they had the Force. Pitching Tameo, I draw They stifle that, huh? Well, let's see. Let's daze the stifle. They pay. I daze the second stifle. Alright, I don't daze the second stifle. I daze stifle again with my second daze. Okay, stifle is dazed. I draw. And I lose. Alright. So off the sideboard. Oh, maybe we want carpet flowers. I think we want prismatic ending. I think we want Thoughtseize. I'm not sure if we want massacre. So let's get rid of the LED, a cycler, and the consider. I think we can cut a lotus petal. Maybe these like 4 white removal spells are too many. Maybe like this. Then we have to cut only one more thing here. Maybe I'll cut a daze, even though they are like a daze wasteland deck, so wasteland is like making my dazes better versus them. But we'll see. Okay. So what's the plan here? We could go for the turn 1 Doomsday, but then we're doing it against a Stifle deck. Or we can try and go for like a later Doomsday with either Teferi or the One Ring having resolved. I don't think I can afford to go Dark Ritual Doomsday against this deck. And then it becomes a question: can we afford to play around Wasteland here? I don't think we can. So yeah, I think these are good. I'm gonna draw the edge here. If they do Wasteland me, I don't hate having that as a workaround. Well, not like, but as a way to leverage a little bit of value. No Wasteland and a pass. So there is an edge of, or rather a Lorien revealed on top of our deck, which I think maybe we're okay drawing. I think they have a Stifle or a Flusterstorm or a Consign to Memory in hand. Okay. They kept a card on top. They're passing. They probably have Ophelia here. And this is a tough matchup. Like if I go dark, like if they have Consign to Memory, then Dark Ritual the One Ring, they just consign it cleanly. If I play Teferi right now, it's straight into a daze. I might actually like the One Ring play here, because then if they do consign it or force it or whatever, I can then still like Lorien for a tropical island, and then still develop. Okay, and it's a force of will, so that's something at least. All right, let's pass. I expect Ophelia. Yep. Do they also have the Riddler? Just to maximum punish here. Yep. Or I say punish. I mean that they're just like they're executing their game plan really well. All right, I am getting. What am I getting? I think it's Underground Sea. Yeah. All right. And then I'm gonna cycle this Lorien revealed, and I'll get a Trop. But now the irony is I can't even Doomsday, because so what's going to happen is if I Doomsday pass, I'm at 7, they attack me for lethal. So what's the plan here? Damn, this is really tough. I could Doomsday and then like cycle edge into Plow, but then again, then that loses to a daze. If I go Teferi minus bounce Philia, then Teferi dies. We've drawn a card, gained a little bit of tempo on them. I think that's actually fine. This might also draw a force. Okay, something's happening here. Okay, like if I were to draw Carpet of Flowers off of this. I wouldn't hate that. Okay, well, I didn't. Okay, so we took a little bit of pressure off, and Teferi's about to die. So Teferi basically red, gain 7 life, draw a card for 3 mana. Okay, there's Tamiyo. And main phasing the Philiac is... Oh, never mind. What? What just happened? They put damage on me? Holy smokes. My guy. Okay. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take that free win. What am I missing here? Alright, so we Edge of Autumn into Brainstorm. And then Thassa, Petal, something something. Force of Will. Do I want to hide anything? Veil of Summer. Okay, cycle Edge. We've made our land drop. We draw Brainstorm. We cast Brainstorm, draw Force, Petal, Thassa. Put back Polluted, Delta, Daze. I mean, we're not going to be countering anything anyways. They would need a 1 mana like cycling ability that did something here. So we can actually make Force of Will another card we want to hide. Maybe it's the Plow. Not sure if that really matters. Okay, let's just go through this again. Cycle Edge into Brainstorm, Brainstorm into Petal, Thassa, blank, put back, Delta, blank. Yep. We also already have like a Devotion. I'm honestly almost at a point where I'm questioning if that was a misclick by the opponent. That they attacked me instead of the Teferi. Okay. Cycle, Edge of Autumn, casting this Brainstorm. Put back Delta and Delta and Veil of Summer. And we have Devotion to blue here, so off of Teferi, so it's all good. I will not choose to use that ability. Alright, I totally stole that one, is what it feels like. I think maybe Daze is important enough here. And I wonder if I'm just supposed to completely avoid the whole, like, trying to be a white removal deck, or have white removal. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to add my Lotus Petal instead of the Prismatic Ending. Just to, like, have... This is a Wasteland Daze deck that we're up against. Ugh. Oh, man. I don't know that I can keep this hand. It's so fragile and slow. I'm going to mulligan. Alright, I'll keep this, but it's not much better. I'll get rid of a Brainstorm, I guess. Maybe it is supposed to be the Force of Will, but I'll keep that for now. Ponder turn 1, okay. No shuffle, okay. Well, the obvious weakness in our hand is Wasteland here, or is to Wasteland, so we really need land. I'll keep this land. It's not the best land here, but it's a land. No Wasteland, turn 1, 2, okay, I like that. We could Thoughtseize here. Thoughtseize probably prompts them to cast Philia. So let's, they can do that. Okay, they Brainstorm in response. Okay, they cast Brainstorm and now this resolves. There's a Caracas. And lots of force of annoying things here and a Stifle. I think I'll take the Stifle and make them like go 2 for 1 here a bunch. There's Caracas and they pass. So they're leaving up hard cast Force of Negation. Okay. I'm really happy about Ponder. I think that means I can start off with Brainstorm. Okay, that I'm not so happy with. Let's get rid of 2 copies of Doomsday and let's cast Ponder here. They could daze this. They choose not to. Ooh, this is bad. I think I have to shuffle this, even though like Tundra is a land and I really need lands. Yeah, that was bad, but it is what it is. And they have Philia as well. And I can't even force because they can force back a million ways. So the only thing is they don't have a payoff right now, at least. So, but if they find like um, a Quantum Riddler here, they left a card on top. Brutal. Okay. So I am facing down a 2/2 right now. That is at least a bit of a relief. Oh, come on, deck. Not like this. Quantum Riddler. I guess I force will that. They force back pitching Brainstorm. So their hand is force of negation, daze. Yeah, I'll force again. I don't think I can win if they get Quantum Riddler and get Philia Blinket. I don't think I'm winning anyways, but, you know, I think it's a fast track to the end of the game if they have that. Okay, Underground Sea, that was at least nice. Pass. I think I need a Brainstorm here to like get several good things going on. Not a Force of Will. Okay, pass. And we're down to 8. Can we draw something useful? Street Wraith. That's not it. I'll cycle it. I mean, that does kind of turn off the clock here, but I think we need to do something. All right, so what do I do here? I think I have to pass here and then hope to draw, I think, Dark Ritual, and for them to tab out so they can't Force of Negation twice. Meanwhile, they can't ever hit like Force of or Wasteland or whatever. Yeah, and they have no reason to do anything here. I'm on a 3-turn clock. Pedal, huh? So let's see here. I cast Pedal, I cast Doomsday. They tap 3 mana, Force of Negation. I force pitching Lore in and go to 3. They force pitching Daze or whatever. I'm at 1 once they attack me with Philia. So I can never put Doomsday on the stack anyways. Yeah, I am out of here. GG's opponent. I guess like theoretically something could happen next turn, like on my last turn of the game where I draw like Brainstorm into Veil of Summer and Dark Ritual and I don't know, but I mean at that point I'm at 2. If I ever Force of Will, I'll be at 1 and be unable to put Doomsday on the stack. Yeah, alright. On to round number 4. Okay, on the play for round number 4. How many games has this Thassa been in my opening hand, huh? I'll keep this hand. All right. I don't feel like my deck has been serving up like its top tier opening hands very often in this league, which is fine. I mean, that's obviously not going to happen all the time, but all right. Magic Ads. The username rings a bell, but I can't remember. I think I played against them recently, but I can't remember what they were on. Let's ponder here and look for Force of Will and lands, please. Doomsday. I mean, Doomsday is interesting. And so is the Lorien Revealed. Okay, I'll grudgingly accept this. I think I should have put the Street Wraith on top, cycle that one, and then cast Brainstorm next turn if I don't get Wastelanded. Okay, is this energy? That's what it looks like. Okay, if it is energy, then I feel somewhat okay here. Let's cycle this and grab an Underground Sea and pass. Oh, it's not energy, I guess. It's Storm, right? That has to be it. There's an LED. Lotus Petal. Alright, we have to respect, or at least be aware of Silence. Silence can beat us here. Okay, that was not the worst. Okay, get rid of Dark Ritual and draw the second Daze. If they have the Rune Hellkite thing, they would need like another mana, but if they have like Dark Ritual, they could Hellkite us. There's a big pause on my upkeep, which makes me think they have Silence, and they're wondering if they should use it now. And my opponent says, hello YouTube, so everyone please say hi to Magic Ads. And yeah, we were just chatting, and I remember where I knew them from. We had a match the other day with their connection they had really bad connection issues. I wasn't recording, and I honestly I can't remember what they were playing, or if I even really learned. But yeah, all right, let's go for this. Like if they silence my like me on Dark Ritual here, then I can Doomsday next turn. So we cast Brainstorm, which draws us Cycler, Lotus Petal, and then we put Thassa into play with Double Daze backup. I mean, Double Daze doesn't really mean anything here. They have 5 mana, but I think that's fine. I think the worst they could have is a silence. Yeah, so unfortunately we don't have a Cycler in hand. We have Brainstorm. It would have been easier the other way around, I think. Is there a way to squeeze in Force of Will here? I don't think so. I'll put in Force of Will anyways, just to have it in the pile. At least make them worry. Maybe Veil of Summer, I don't know. So let's just see. Brainstorm. We draw Street Wraith, Petal. We put back like Petal, Street Wraith, and we cycle into those. And then they can silence us and untap and win, or something like that. I think in that case we're supposed to put Thassa as the last card we cycle into, because we don't want them to then untap and Thoughtseize us. So yeah, if they have a silence, I think there's a pretty high probability they win. If they don't, I think we win. So let's put in another Force of Will. So if we do end up in a situation where they like make us draw 7 next turn, we can, or on their next turn, we can leverage that. Double Force on the bottom, and then the top 3, it doesn't really matter. Okay, here's Brainstorm. I guess like double dazing here is not nothing, because that means if they want daze to resolve or silence to resolve, then they have to sack LED. Let's put back Thassa and Petal and start cycling. Let's play Lotus Petal. Cycle again. Okay, so now silence no longer works, so now they need something else. Something like a bounce spell for Thassa. Okay. So we're up against a sort of the Epic Storm-ish kind of deck. Let's grab Force of Negations. Let's grab Thoughtseize. Let's grab Grafdigger's Cage, and let's grab Serenity. Serenity now! You have to say it. Let's get rid of Cavern of Souls. Let's get rid of a Cycler. Let's get rid of at least 1 Teferi, maybe 2 Teferi. And is it a Lorien? What's our blue count like then? Maybe I'll cut a Petal. I remove 3 blue cards and add 2, so I'm still at like 21, 22 blue cards. I think that's fine. Like, Sheoldred is not nothing. They are an Echo of Eon's deck. Maybe 1 Sheoldred for 1 ring. And then I'm really not sure about this Teferi. Like, Teferi shuts off silence on my turn, which is nice. And kind of, but Teferi is just like a blank versus Veil of Summer. Or even versus silence. I think I'm more interested in the second Sheoldred. But how's the blue count looking then? It's 9, it's 12, not going to count the Thassa right now. It's 12 plus 6, that's 18, plus 2, that's 20. 20 blue cards with 6 forces. That is kind of low. Yeah, maybe it's like 1 Sheoldred and 1 Teferi. 21 blue cards. Let's try this. Okie dokie, this hand unfortunately has no mana, so let's mulligan that one. Let's keep this one and bottom a Brainstorm, I think. Yeah, I have faith in Serenity. Maybe I shouldn't have. Currently we have no ways to play it. Also, like, Serenity having, like, basically suspend 1 is kind of weak. But obviously this effect for just 2 mana would have been very strong. No turn 1, we die. Let's cast Ponder off of Underground Sea. Yikes. Maybe. Yeah, okay. Okay. Let's I will actually draw this Lines of Diamond, and in case we get Thoughtseize next turn. But yeah, having the suspend one, so like next turn I untap, or rather I tap out for Serenity, pass to them, then they have a whole free turn to kill me. And then if they don't, then I get to untap and blow stuff up, which currently right now is just like a Lotus Petal, so it's not amazing. They surveil to the top and then they pass. Okay, I think that means I'm not supposed to cast Serenity just to like have it trade. It's basically like tapping 2 mana to kill a Lotus Petal, which they can then just use on their turn. So let's cast Brainstorm. We know we're drawing Thassa. We don't want that. Ooh, Veil of Summer is pretty nice. Okay, let's get rid of Thassa and the LED. And oh, this is risky business. Oh, I guess I'll be drawing those cards because now I can Force of Negation and Veil of Summer, which I'm kind of into. And then next turn I can do the same, but also like float the Serenity if we can get them to commit some more artifacts, or if they like they wouldn't be playing Anariza's Saga, I don't think, because they surveil to the top, then miss their land drop. I guess they could draw a Saga now. That's assuming they even play Saga. If this is the Epic Storm, I don't think they do. Okay, so I think they just drew that land, right? That has to be it. Okay, no, I don't think I can afford. It's a hell of a thing. Like if I cast Ponder right now, it would be to replace Ponder with another blue card. I don't want to draw the Thassa that's on top of my deck. I could, in a pinch, like pitch Thassa to the Force of Negation. But then what? Oh, I'm passing here. I'm just passing. The Serenity isn't even good right now. But yeah, if I pitch the Thassa, then my only real win condition is I have a copy of Shieldred and a copy of Street Wraith. Okay. They surveil to the top yet again. And now they silence me. I think I Force of Negation that. I think I have to. Okay. Veil of Summer is my only line of protection right now. Another silence. Holy crap. So I could Veil right now for no value whatsoever, and then they can just choose to not go off. If I don't Veil, why are they spending a petal to silence here? At worst, I die. I just die now. They have like Double Dark Ritual, Chrome Mox, Beseech the Mirror LED or something. At best, they're going to Echo, I think. So if they Echo, I need to have cast this Veil of Summer, I think. So I think I'm going to cast Veil of Summer. And we'll see now, like, if they're able to beat a Veil of Summer somehow, they're definitely just going to keep going here. If they know there's 0 chance they can win while Veil of Summer is in effect, then maybe they'll hold off. But I would assume they still just go for it here to like fill up their hand or something. Okay, here comes Dark Ritual. I will yield. I have been silenced. There's the Chrome Mox. There's Beseech. So they can't really profitably get either Song of Creation or the other thing. Okay, that was amazing. Like if they can't beat me through Veil Summer here, I am untapping into a position of great strength here. That does appear to be what's happening. And with great strength, I just mean like I am resolving the One Ring, and then I have Force plus Veil backup. Let's cast Dark Ritual and Ring. And that's just, aside from Ring being card advantage, this is just one more turn where they can't do anything to me here. I'll play the LED in case somehow we end up drawing 7 more cards. Is this Gamble? So if this is Gamble, they should probably, and they probably will, gamble for Runehorn Hellkite. And Runehorn Hellkite is like really problematic. Dark Ritual, okay. Alright, so they went for it, and I'm gonna Force of Negation this. And I'm gonna pitch Ponder. This may draw a concession here, because, yeah, alright, and that makes sense. But yeah, Runehorn Hellkite is how the Epic Storm like beats us, and without that card in the mix, I feel somewhat okay. But like this is like them adopting White for Silence is a lot more scary than when they weren't playing that card. All right, off to the final round. Okay, we are on the draw for the final round. My opponent mulligans 6. I'm going to keep this hand. All right, opponent found 6 cards they like. It looks like we are not. We are like passing the test of not having played against Oops All Spells in a Legacy League here. That's nice. Goblin Bombardment. So this is energy, bombardment, that kind of thing. I think maybe I'm gonna cycle the Street Wraith here. If I hit Dark Ritual, I don't hit Doomsday, which is pretty nice. Let's Ponder. There is Dark Ritual and Daze. Love this. Love this, love this, love this. I could Dark Ritual right now and go for Doomsday. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to do that. Why the heck not? So if they have Wasteland, we have to factor that in. If they have Bowmasters, that is not so nice. So we could draw Street Wraith, cycle that into Consider away something, and then like draw a Lotus Petal, and then Lotus Petal. No, that's no good. All right, let's see here. So we draw Street Wraith, cycle Street Wraith into Street Wraith into Consider away Island, draw Thassa. But then if they have Bowmasters, we're kind of screwed. Or are we? We'll be at 9. We'll be at 8 from the Bowmaster ping. Then each Street Wraith deals us 3, so we'll be at 2, and then Consider deals us 1. I think that's fine. So Thassa on the bottom, Island on top, Consider there, and then double Street Wraith. I think I have to play out this LED or risk having it Thoughtseize. Alright, and so we pass the turn. And pray to God they can't kill my LED. There is a Wasteland. And it looks like they have Bowmasters, or they would have Wastelanded me here, I think, unless they have like Disruptor Flute. Yeah, them not Wastelanding me that doesn't really change anything. Okay. Let's just cycle this Street Wraith and sack the LED. I guess I don't have to sack LED right now. I'm cycling into another Street Wraith, so let's not do that. Yep. There is Bowmasters, and there is second Wraith. Alright, and now we sack the LED. Again, we could also wait, but that doesn't matter. We draw, Consider, take one more, go to 2, and we'll be at exactly 1 life once we put Thassa on the stack. Nice and tidy. There we go. Okay. Sweet. So we're up against Orzhov, maybe, no. What's it called? Mardu? Is that it? White, black, and red. I think we want the Massacre. Not sure we want a whole lot more. I'm not sure what Zombie Bombardment means for me here. I don't think that in and of itself is enough of a reason to bring in Serenity. I'm also not really sure about like bringing in spot removal here. Yeah, I don't know. Don't think we want Shieldred. They aren't really drawing cards. We have Veil and Ring to protect us against Bowmasters, plus the Massacre, I guess. Is there something we don't want here? Teferi doesn't seem all that amazing. I'm going to board out a Teferi and just bring in the Massacre and call that it, I think. I suppose I'll keep this hand. Would be, I want to say infinitely better, but you know, a whole lot better on the play here, because what Veil is especially good at here is Thoughtseize, and okay, but they're only getting to 5. But I mean, if they have Thoughtseize, they likely have it on turn 1. If they don't have it, then this Veil is doing that much. I mean, it can still put in a shift versus Bowmasters, I guess. Arid Mesa, okay, no Thoughtseize. Happy about that. Second ring. Here we are again seeing the whole thing of like ring plus Doomsday like comes to a lot of clunky, you know, big mana spells in your hand. If these were Tamiyo's, I don't know. Like Tamiyo against this matchup, also not that exciting. Oh, they've kept in Plow. Love that for me. There is Wasteland. Don't love that one. Hexing Squelcher, sure. I think I will Surveil and play into Wasteland here. We have effectively three lands in available to us right now. Yeah, I'll double Ponder on my turn maybe. Okay, but let's see here. They didn't fetch black mana and they don't have one right now. So maybe they don't have black mana? Dark Ritual. Do we just like go for Doomsday? Is that what you're telling me? We either go for Doomsday now, or we go for the One Ring next turn, I guess. I think I like waiting here and not like just stumbling into some avenue of loss. Second Wasteland would be tough here. Yeah, you got it. Another Plateau land. Amped Raptor, okay. And that exiles Goblin Bombardment. So now they have like damage on me. At any time they can sack a creature and deal me 2. Or deal me 1, right? That's how that works, yeah. Okay, so that is, that's interesting. I think I'm just gonna draw. Yeah, I'm just gonna draw the Tropical Island here. And then I think I'm gonna grab Scrubland and Dark Ritual Ring. Now, unfortunately, this is red and neither black nor blue, so Veil doesn't protect us against it. Voice of Victory, sure. I was already not countering things. An attack comes that deals no damage, and I untap with the ring. Massacre would be fun here. I'm gonna draw with ring. I think I ponder. That's no good. Shuffle these. Let's cycle and get Underground Sea. Play that. I'm gonna play Lotus Petal. So next turn, this attacks for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll go to 8. And then they sack 2 more, I'll go to 6. And then I can't really Doomsday. Or at least I will have to Doomsday by casting, like it'll have to involve me casting the One Ring. That means a lot of mana. Yeah, don't think I'm getting out of this one. So I go to 6. If I were to draw into Massacre right now, Massacre, they would deal me 3. I would be at 1, because I'm about to take 2 more for the ring. Yeah. I am practically dead here. I guess I'm functionally dead. Did I just miscalculate? Yeah, I did. Alright, alright. No. Yeah, no, I do. I am. Yeah, alright. There's no way for me to get another ring into play at instant speed, so. Alright, GG's. Well, here, like the Veil of Summer seemed just completely pathetic because they played like a is that Mardu? I'm getting old and confused. I'm an old and confused man. All the magic, like double colors and like the guilds. Is red and white Mardu? I think it might be. They just played like a red and white deck, anyways. Um, but we did see Bowmasters and Black Man in game number one. I think Teferi is really not very good here. Maybe on the play it's better, or it most certainly is. But I think I want to bring in one Prismatic Ending, like in case they have an early Goblin Bombardment. Okay, I'll keep this. Turn to the One Ring with Force of Will backup in 2023 or 2026. Please let that be good enough. um, and I'll play Undercity Sewers if they want to take a turn off wastelanding me. I think I'm okay with that exchange, having gotten some value out of the sewers. Edge can go. We don't want edge. Basic planes. Ocelot Pride, that's fine. Not sure what color to go for here. I guess I will go for green. No, I think I'm supposed to go for something that casts Doomsday later on. Maybe I'll go for white then. The scrubland. And maybe I was just actually supposed to go for an Underground Sea. Okay, we have a ring. We draw a Dark Ritual. That's kind of nice. So now if we find Doomsday, things are looking on the up and up. They attack. And I take the turn. I take 1 damage and I draw a Ponder. Okay, I think I'm gonna draw with ring here. Oh, they have Bowmasters? No way. I will Force of Will that. Bowmasters. There we go. Get the heck out of here. Draw more Force of Will. Lotus Petal. I'll play Lotus Petal. I'll play Cavern on Wizard. And pass the turn. Yeah, I don't feel like pondering and then having to keep awkwardly to have a blue card or having to Guide of Souls. Okay, so now like we are kind of running into the shits here. Najani. Like we need to make things happen next turn. But hopefully we can. And they don't have 3 energy right now, so I just take a damage here. And now I take 2 more from the ring. Come on. I need Doomsday. Or Massacre. Oh, come the fuck on, deck! Now I think I just lose. I guess I can cast Ponder. Yeah. Unbelievable. Magic the Whiffening. So I could draw 3 here, which basically means drawing Force of Will and Lorien Revealed. It'll cost me a petal. Or 2 petals, rather. How much damage am I taking next turn? Whenever one more cat dies, but nothing's going to die right now, so next turn I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this can pump another 2. So I'll take 8. I'll be at 6. I'll untap and take 3. I'll be at 3. I think I have to shuffle this. Thassa's Oracle, great. Do we care about playing? I'll play the second petal. Like, imagine if I had been able to, like, draw, or rather, cast Doomsday and draw a card. I could have massacred, or even just find Massacre. Straight to combat. Something gets pumped here, which now means Massacre is no longer, like, a complete board wipe. Yep, I go to 6. Quite a few things I have to counter now. Not sure if Amp Raptor is one of those. I guess I will let this come into play, and it exiles what? Another Amp Raptor. Nice. Yep, you got it. All right, and now is the time. We take 3. We're at 3. We have a pretty short window of maneuverability here. Yeah, we have to draw 4 and hope there's a Doomsday and a way to draw a card. There was not. So what we can do here is we can bounce our own ring and replay it. That is a play. That's a move we have. I think that is sort of what we have to do here. Okay, and that draws us a card as well. There is Doomsday. Hey, maybe we can win. All right, so let's just trying to work out if there is any rhyme or reason or world where I play Doomsday right now. Yeah, I already played my land. So if I were to play Doomsday, I could have 6 mana in total, right? No, hang on. 3 becomes 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. I think that's enough, right? Yeah, okay, so I have 3, 4, 5, 6. That becomes 8 with the second ritual. I go the One Ring, then that leaves me with 4 mana left. I go Doomsday, and that leaves me with 1 mana left, and then I can put Edge of Autumn in my hand or on top of the pile, and I draw with the ring, and then I just need to draw another petal, and then we're fine, right? So I draw petal with ring. No, I draw edge with ring, and then I draw petal. Then I have 3 cards left in the deck, and I have Devotion 3. Okay, sweet. That took me longer than it probably should have to figure out, but we got there in the end. Alright, let's cast the second Dark Ritual. And let's cast the One Ring. We gain Invulnerability, and then we cast Doomsday. And we put Edge of Autumn and Lotus Petal, and then 3 cards that don't matter. We can make it some combination of the One Ring and Lines of M and whatnot. Yeah. And then we just need Edge to be the top card and Petal to be the second from the top card. Alright, let's draw a card. Let's cycle, getting rid of the Cavern of Souls. Oof. That was a close shave, my friends. And we take it. Alright, cool. Alright, let's go have a look at the deck. Alright, well, like this has been pretty par for the course for me with this deck since I even remember playing it back in 2023. It was good, I mean, but it wasn't great. It was a 3-2 record. So we lost to that Mystic Forge deck, and I think that's probably a deck I feel I should be beating more than losing to. And if we had won that, then suddenly it's a 4-1 record and feels pretty good. That Philia Blink deck feels pretty scary. But I think that's a nightmare matchup for most Doomsday decks because of Stifles and Consign of Memories in the main deck, plus it being like a tempo deck that plays Wasteland and Daze and stuff. I mean, our opponent had like Philia, curving Philia straight into Quantum Riddler in several games, which is obviously also, that's not going to happen all the time. I feel like maybe their deck was performing at a higher like average from what it can compared to mine in those matchups, but it is probably just also a lot more consistent than what this deck is trying to do. I really don't feel like I have any closure as to whether or not we want Tamiyo over the ring or both in some combination here. Like, I feel like the format has grown a bit hostile to Tameo, which is good, I think. Like, especially considering like a couple of months ago, like I think many of the loud voices in the Legacy space were like making it sound as though having Tameo legal was completely preposterous and a complete blemish, which I don't think it is turning out is the case. Um, Whether or not she's too powerful, I think maybe the jury is still out, but I do feel like she might not be, and that the legacy format we're seeing right now is bearing that out. But yeah, I think like having Tameo in this list, I'm not filled with confidence. We're also like we don't have that much to protect her with. So the big draw for me in this deck is Teferi. The Veil of Summers, they didn't really come up in this league, but yeah, that pretty much also just supports my view on this card, which is that, high ceiling, low floor. I really don't like how there is like a significant proportion of decks in Legacy where you're not where this is just blank cardboard. But that is sort of the deal with this card. Maybe 2 would be like a better number, but then like are we really like at what point does it become ridiculous to be splashing a color to play 2 cards in the side main deck and 2 in the sideboard? I'm not saying it is, but that's just a question we should be asking ourselves. All right, so thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Please check out the Patreon if you want some more Doomsday content, and I'll be back with another Legacy video.